Morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Sunday morning edition of our study, and on a topic called "A God Not in Flesh" from Daniel. I am just happy to put this before you all who are tuned into my channel. Just focusing on Babylon. The wall is fallen. Babylon is fallen. We study in the whole of the Bible about it, and we want to quickly study a short summary of how God in flesh. We were proud of Daniel 2:11 says about that thing we will read before we go. Then we will read Jeremiah 50. Jeremiah 50:15 says, "Shout against her round about, and she hath given her hand, and the foundations are fallen. Her walls are thrown down, for it is the vengeance of the Lord, and take vengeance upon her, and she hath, as she hath done, shall do unto her." How sad Babylon is fallen, and the whole Jeremiah 50 says judgment of Babylon and redemption of Israel. We can go through that thing, the following thing, and it's a great thing, and Lord is very much worried, and is asking. There is no one to stand in the gap for him, and all are liars and thieves who are a den of thieves, and are all howling around, and there is none to shout against Babylon. Is to fall the victory of Babylon. So sad. Jesus is asking. There is nobody to stand in the gap. Also in Ezekiel 13:14 says, "So I'll break down the walls that ye have dubbed with untempered mortar, and bring it down to ground, so that the foundation shall be discovered, and it shall fall, and ye shall be consumed in the midst thereof, and ye shall know that I am the Lord. You shall know that I am the Lord." How sad it is. And the prophecy is against that there will be, her foundation shall be discovered. It shall be seen very well. How sad it is. And so again we see that is Jesus is worrying that in Ezekiel 22:30 saying, "And I sought for a man among them. I sought for a man among them, but I do not find a man who is in flesh." And that should make up a hedge and stand in the gap before me for the land. I should not destroy it, but I found none. How sad. The Lord is sad. God could not find a man in flesh. And Daniel 2:11 says we have a God not in flesh. And how Daniel stood in the gap 3 times a day. We can see in Daniel 10:10 and other verses. Daniel 10:10, Daniel, behold, a hand touched me and set me in knees, and upon the palms of my hand. Daniel was opening the window of his room and was just praying 3 times a day. 3 times a day. We can see that in the consecutive places. Daniel was a man of prayer, man who was interceding in Nehemiah 4:3. They were building the wall, and somebody was ridiculing Nehemiah, who was standing in the gap about the wall as Daniel was building. And we can continuously see that therefore I have poured out my indignation, and I have consumed them with fire of my wrath their way, and I have recompensed upon the head, says the Lord. Because our Lord was very sad about that he could not find a man who can stand in the gap. We have seen we are seeing in Jeremiah 50:20 the following verses. "In those days and in that time, says the Lord, the iniquity of Israel shall be sought, for there shall be none, and the sins of Judah, and there shall be not be found. I will pardon them whom I reserve." Also God is very good about the Israelites and the Judah. There will not be sin found in them. They are sin free. Put yourself in array. 14th verse. Against Babylon round about, and all ye that bend the bow, shoot at her, spare no arrows, for she hath sinned against the Lord. 14th verse. 12th verse. Your mother shall be sore confounded. She that bare you shall be ashamed, because the hindermost parts of the nation shall be wilderness and dry land and desert. 12th verse. Also in 3rd verse, from out of north shall come a nation against her, and shall make her land desolate, and none shall dwell therein, and they shall remove, and they shall depart, both man and beast. Both man and beast declare. 2nd verse, declare ye among the nation, publish and set up a standard, publish and conceal not. Says Babylon is taken, Bel is confounded, Modak is broken in pieces, your idols are confounded, our images are broken in pieces. How sad it is, Babylon is fallen. And again, if you continue reading in those days, in that time, says the Lord. 4th verse, the children of Israel shall come, and they and the children of Judah together going and weeping, and they shall go and seek the Lord their God. They will want to, because of the destruction of the Babylon, they will try to seek the Lord. And they, 5th verse, and they shall ask the Zion with the faces at thitherward, and saying, come and let us join ourselves to the Lord in a perpetual covenant that shall not be forgotten, an forgotten perpetual covenant they wanted to seek. Also in 6th verse, and my people have lost the sheep, the shepherds have caused them to go on astray, and they are turned away unto mountains, and they are gone unto mountains to hill, and they have forgotten the resting place. All the people, all that found them have devoured them, and that adversary said, we offend not, and because we have sinned against the Lord and the habitation of justice, even the Lord, the hope of the fathers. They were running after a perpetual covenant. Since Babylon is fallen, they want to make a covenant now. And when we come back, the Daniel 2:11, the thing God, the king Nebuchadnezzar is finding a matter for his visions, for his dreams to be fulfilled, and his king's matter has to be solved, and it's a rare thing. 11th was the king required than no other can shew. And Daniel knows that the God who is dwelling not in the flesh can do this miracle for the king Nebuchadnezzar. For this cause the king was angry and very furious, and commanded to destroy all the wise men of Babylon. And the king is very furious. He somehow wants the revelation of all these dreams which Nebuchadnezzar is seeing every day. And decree went forth, and this wise men should be slain, and they sought Daniel and his fellows to be slain. So Daniel is now in trouble, and fellows are in trouble, that they want to slain Daniel. The Nebuchadnezzar is hurrying. We are now today in a situation like the church is also the same, like in Luke 11:43. Woe to the Pharisees, for he love to seek uppermost seats in synagogue and greetings and in marketplace. Also in 18:11 of the Luke, from 10, if you see, 2 men went into the temple to pray, and unto the Pharisee and other publican, and the Pharisee stood and prayed thus with himself, God, I thank thee that I am not as the other men, or extortioners, or unjust, adulterer, or even as this publican. I fast twice in a week, I give tithe to all the possess. The publican, standing far off, would not lift up much of his eyes to heaven, and he smote upon his breast, and saying, God be merciful to me, I am a sinner. I tell you, this man went on to his house and justified there rather than the other. For everyone that exalts himself is abased, and he that humbleth himself shall be exalted. What a pitiable situation. Jesus is very much worried this morning, and you folks you are living in the sin blindly. See what Jesus we have. He was oppressed and he was afflicted, yet he has not opened his mouth. He is brought as a lamb to the slaughter, as sheep before the shearers. He is dumb, and so he opened not his mouth. Isaiah 53:7. Also, third verse, he is despised, rejected of men, a man of sorrows, acquainted with grief, and he as we hid as he was, it were faces for him, and we hid as it were our faces for him. He was despised, and we esteemed him not. How sad it is that Jesus is worried and is claiming that there is no man. In 10th verse, yet it pleased the Lord to bruise him and put him to grief when thou shalt make his soul an offering for sin, and he shall see his seed, and he shall prolong his days, and pleasure of the Lord shall prosper in his hand. He shall see of the travail of his soul, and shall be satisfied. By his knowledge shall my righteous servant justify many, for he shall bear their iniquities. Therefore I will divide him a portion with the great, and I will divide the spoil with the strong, because he had poured out his soul unto death, and he was numbered with the transgressors. And he bare the sin of many, and made intercession for the transgressors. See what sad Babylon is fallen in 1 hour. What a pretty thing. Jesus is just wondering there is nobody to stand in the gap. 18 in Revelation 18:19 says, and they cast down on their heads and cried, weeping and wailing and saying, Alas, alas, the great city, wherein was made rich all they had ships in the sea by reason of the costliness. For 1 hour she was made desolate. And 17 days for 1 hour so great riches is come to naught, and every shipmaster and all the company in ships and sailors, as many as they trade by sea, stood far off. Also 10th verse, if you read, standing far off for the fear of judge, fear of a torment, saying, Alas, alas, the kingdom, great city Babylon, that mighty city, in 1 hour the judgment came. How sad it is. How sad are we standing, able to stand in the gap? Are we stand in the gap, and are we able to do miracles this morning for the Lord? Are we able to? It is a rare thing. Daniel 2:11 says it is a rare thing that king requires, and none other than can shew before the Lord king except the gods, and whose dwelling is not with flesh. How sad it is that we want to replace that God. We want to have idols into our life. Why don't you look on to Jesus to be healed and saved? And I will bring Israel again to its habitation, and shall feed, and he shall feed on Carmel and Bashan, and his soul shall be satisfied upon Mount Ephraim and Gilead. Isaiah 53:3. He was despised and rejected of men, and man of sorrows, acquainted with grief, and we hid as it were our faces for him, and was despised, and he was esteemed not. We will read a psalm reading before we close. Psalm 32. Psalm of David. Blessed is he whose transgression forgiven, whose sin is covered. Blessed is the man whom the Lord has imputed no iniquity, in whose spirit there is no guile. When I kept silent, my soul bones waxed old. Though my roarings all day long, for day and night thy hand was heavy upon me, and my moisture is turned into drought of summer. I acknowledge my sin, and upon thee and mine iniquity have I not hid. I said, I will confess my transgression upon the Lord, and thou forgavest the iniquity of my sin. For this shall every one that is godly pray unto thee in the time when thou mayest be found. Surely in the floods of the great waters there shall not come nigh unto him. Thou art my hiding place, thou shalt preserve me from trouble, and thou shalt compass me about with songs of deliverance. I will instruct thee and teach thee in the way that which thou shalt go. I will guide thee with my eye. Be ye not as a horse, as a mule, or as a mule which have no understanding, whose mouth must be held in with bit and bridle, lest they come near unto thee. Many sorrows shall be to the wicked, but he that trusteth in the Lord mercy shall compass him about. Be glad in the Lord, rejoice ye shall righteous, and shout for joy all ye that are upright in God. Be glad in the Lord and rejoice.